Throughout the semester, we've been working on defining professional writing as a subject, major, and profession related to our coursework and college experience. And I found that the final project in this class, the interview report, ties together all the different aspects that make up what professional writing is and what it could be for us in the future. The assignments in this class gave us an example of what it's like to be a professional writer and the types of problems professional writers come across and solve in their everyday lives. The forum hosting gave us a chance to discuss as a class what we think professional writing is according to the readings and the lectures that we had in class. It gave us a chance to compare and contrast the lectures and the readings, our preconceptions of professional writing, and what we think it will be post-graduation. Our in-class assignments also helped us to imagine what it would be like in the workforce without actually taking the risk of getting a job and then not knowing what to do. The in-class assignments incorporated the lecture materials and such as ethical dilemmas and intersubjectivity as well. For the projects of our in-class work, I found that professional writing at Purdue, the first project, was a good first-hand experience to kind of get us going in the class and figure out, how to work with communication skills and how to figure out how to do interviewing skills as a professional writer. And then the second project that we did, the mapping project, taught us about decision architecture, how to make documents visually effective, and how to keep the audience in mind when you're creating your document. And then, after reading through a few of my other classmates' interview reports, I've come up with what I think is a definition of professional writing. And my first thought when entering this class is I didn't really know what professional writing was. My advisor just kind of suggested that I take the class and see how I like it. And I just figured it was a writer who wanted to write and get paid for it. But then taking out this course, I figured out it was much more than that. I found that first and foremost, professional writers are communicators. They require relationships of all sorts, be it scientist to the technical writer, interviewer to interviewee, journalist to its readers, or even the writer to the rest of his writing team. My interviewee for this project also talked a lot about networking. She stressed that networking as a full-time writer or even just a freelance writer helps you establish relationships and connections that might be helpful later on down the road in your career. Professional writing also is made up of writers, obviously. Writers must have a strong command of the English language, and they must be very adaptive. When I was interviewing my interviewee, she writes for press releases, but she is also a freelance writer for a local magazine. And so she had to develop a journalistic style of writing and also a more fun and entertaining style of writing for the magazine. And so she had to be able to adapt to what her audience wanted to read and kinds of information that her audience needed. So she also stressed audience awareness as well as being adaptive to write whatever you're needed to write and asked for to write. Professional writing is also made up of professionals. Professionals deal with intersubjectivity, which is the concept that kind of goes between being objective and being subjective. It's kind of the middle ground, because obviously, you can't always be objective with everything, so we decided intersubjective was kind of a happy compromise. Professionals also have to deal with ethical dilemmas. You need to make sure as a professional writer to please everyone on all sides of the situation that you're writing for, and so you may need to pick and choose what information you put into the document. And then finally, rhetoric was stressed at the beginning of the semester, And I kind of found that rhetoric kind of goes with all categories of professional writing. It's kind of the underlying basis of what professional writing is and how you use professional writing and how you write. You always use rhetoric. And I would probably argue that without rhetoric, we probably wouldn't have the profession of professional writing. And my advice for future 306 students is to practice. My interviewees stressed a lot about practicing and reading, and I also read in a lot of other interview reports that their interviewee said to practice. The more you write, the more you'll get better at it. Also, for this particular course, I would suggest to be up to date with technology because there's a lot of format changing and programs to use, and you need to be able to use it, especially with today's booming technology. I would also advise not to be discouraged because one bad grade is not going to be the downfall of your career, and so you should always just keep writing and just keep going, and eventually you'll get to where you want to be. And for current 306 students, my advice again is to practice. Again, my interviewee stressed practicing, and the more you write, the more you'll get better. She also stressed to get internships. Internships are a good way to kind of get you into the field and kind of see what you want to do for a living and see if you really like professional writing, if you want that particular job, but you don't necessarily have to stay with it. She also suggested to keep a portfolio of your writing, be it poems or fiction or technical writing. Anything you write, you should keep it and keep it organized because it will help you get internships and help you get careers after graduation. And I would also stress taking other writing classes aside from just technical writing and professional writing. I've taken other fiction classes and I found that it kind of helps just your knowledge of writing in general. And even though, that one poem that you might never want to read again, it could just, catch a future employee's eye and might get you a job.
All right, thank you.